Well, that's the reality of it. We can't just keep acquiring players. I mean, we've got too big a squad as it is at the moment, and it affects your training. It affects the players themselves because ultimately they all want to play and be involved. So, for us, it's not so much one has to happen for the other, but like I said, our focus right at the moment is to try and trim the squad down and then see where that takes us in terms of reinforcements. We're constantly assessing that on a daily basis, and there's still 2 weeks to go in the window, and I'm sure you'll see some movement.
In terms of area on the pitch, is it just a striker in particular that you feel as if you maybe need to bring in?
No, not necessarily. I know that's kind of the obvious place people look at because of recent outgoings, but like I said, we've been planning for that for a while. For me, it's just we just got to. There's still areas I think we can strengthen in all our lines, to be honest. Defensively, midfield, up front. But again, that's not just sort of bringing players in for the sake of it. They've got to fit the sort of profile we're looking at. We've purposely gone a bit younger with our sort of recruiting because we want to build a team here. It's not about sort of putting some finishing touches to something. We're building something here. So that's the kind of profiles we're looking at.
Just finally for me, sorry to have to bring it up.
And what kind of game are you expecting?
Well, every week will be a first. So I mean, I can't really get up for it because I'll be buzzing all year. So it's a great challenge for us. I mean, the most important thing for us is it's our first home game in the Premier League, and obviously last week, like I said, we showed some really good characteristics in terms of our resilience. Tomorrow's about showing a little bit more of our football, and hopefully, against a really strong opponent, try and impose our game style. That's got to be our goal every week now, to see if we can improve the way we play our football and make an impact against the best teams. And that's our challenge tomorrow. I'm sure our fans will be up for it, so I'm looking forward to it. So from my perspective, it's more about sort of, we're at that stage where all our focus has to be on us and developing our football. Yeah, very highly. I mean, obviously followed him from his days at Ajax and previous to that, and he built a great team there, and you can see at Man U, he's made an impact at a club where it's been very difficult to make an impact since Sir Alex retired. So it's not the easiest job in the world, and I've got a great respect for him, as I do for all managers. I think to get to this space where you're managing in the Premier League, requires a fair bit of let's just say a body of work to get you to a certain space, and he's earned the right to coach one of the biggest clubs in the world, and I think he's doing a good job.
As you said, your captain and vice captains, have they stepped up?
Yeah, they've been good. I mean, Sonny and look, I think he's been captain of his country for a while now, and he's always had, I think, a fairly sort of position in the game where he's well respected by friend and foe. So he's one of these kind of players, and I think he leads by example. He trains hard every day, and I think he's embraced the role, and him and Matters, and obviously Romero. It's theirs now. It's up to them to make it what it is, and I'm sure that they're sort of going through that process now of really trying to figure out what kind of leaders they want to be, and the environment. And it's all part of that process. Thanks, Sam.
It felt like a new look Tottenham team last week with the style, and there's obviously quite a few new faces making their debuts. I think Spurs fans were pretty excited with what they saw really from all the debutants. Just how happy are you, pleased are you with how quickly the new guys have settled into this team?
Yeah, pleased. In many respects, they've got no choice. That's the life of a professional footballer these days. We don't have a massive tolerance or patience. We expect them to go in and just hit the ground running. And my expectations of them, again, I kind of work with them every day. Apart from Mickey, obviously, who came in late. With Destiny and Vic and Matters, making their debuts for the club. They've had a really good pre-season, so I was confident that they would go out there and acquit themselves well. But Mickey was again very, very good in the way way he just approached the whole game, I thought he showed a really good temperament for a young guy. I mean, you've got to remember that he's 22, Destiny's 20. So, the fact that they had the temperament in a very difficult venue and, like I said, the way the game went in the first half, I thought they really acquitted themselves well. So that's good signs for us. But I think part of that is also the way the whole group's embraced the new players. It's a good environment and they feel like, they feel comfortable enough to then just concentrate on performing.
And he's not new confidence around the whole place.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, getting just a win, I don't know if that does anything. If we go out there and win 1-0 and we're not convincing in our performance, okay, we'll feel good for a couple of days, but that isn't going to give me any sort of real solace that we're heading in the right direction. Strong performance is what we're after. Obviously we want to win. I mean, that goes without saying, but you want to win on the back of playing our football, showing signs of progression from last week, trying to impose our game against a really good opponent. And you win that way, and that's how you accelerate belief. But we've got to we can't be in a situation where there's a desperation just for a result, because then it goes against the grain of everything we're trying to build here. But we fully understand, and I certainly fully understand that for a lot of people that's the only measure, and you've just got to accept that. But for me tomorrow, it's about a strong performance, progression from last week against a really good opponent, and hopefully that gives us that momentum to keep going.
George?
Is that your plan for the season?
My plan is to win. That's the only thing that kind of my focus is. But as I said before, the way we play is important to that, and we can't just sort of, I understand that last year was a very, very difficult year, but this club's been in a pretty good shape for the last sort of X amount of time. You can go back as far as you want. Okay, they haven't had the ultimate success, but they've been, in the hardest league in the world, they've been a very, very good side. So I don't think the whole experience of the Tottenham supporters over the last few years has been that negative. I just think of the backdrop of last year for sure. But I don't want to sell them false hope. This is not. They're not coming to. They're not coming to a carnival. It's a football match, and they want to go home with the 3 points. But within that context, I want us to play football that does excite them for sure, and not just them, but I want everyone sort of talking about the way we play. And I think that's always been my sort of marker as to making an impact, and within that context, that takes us to the point where we have success. But it's not. I'm not. It's not about sort of making them happy. It's about giving them joy that comes from suffering, and I mean, I'll say that because I listened to a podcast during the week and I just thought it was a great sort of description of what football is about. It's not about being happy, because you actually suffer a game of football until that joyous moment when the ball goes in the net or you win the game, and that's kind of, I thought, a nice way of sort of what I'm trying to do is just bring them joy, but understand there's going to be some suffering within that.
What was the podcast?
It was Louis Theroux interviewing Australian singer. What's his name? Oh, escapes me now. Louis Theroux. It was a little bit deeper than that. Nothing against Peter Andre, obviously. He's a fantastic talent. It just escapes me for the moment. Yeah.
It was a good podcast. You like Lou Theroux?
It was interesting. I like listening to things. I like reading things. If something sort of pops up that I sort of piques my interest, I'll always. You never stop learning, mate. It's funny that. So, and the best way to do that is listen. Don't talk too much.
Thank you.
No, my pleasure.
Ali?
Already, but was there anything that surprised you from actually managing the game last week?
Well, we didn't start because there was a lack of water.
Other than the sanitation issues.
So there's the first for you, and that's the beauty. That's the beauty of football. It doesn't matter how long I've been in it. There's always something new. No, look, aside from that, not really. I mean, it was like I said, the game was okay. There was a fair bit going on, particularly in that first half, and my sort of view of that was that like I said, I was really pleased with the way we responded to what happened. But it was still a game of football, mate, where you're trying to prepare a team and then, sort of hopefully seeing the things that you've worked on and the information you've given come to fruition in some way, shape or form. And that was the focus on the day. I can see why it's a difficult place to go and win games. They create, it's obviously a small, tight ground. They create a really good atmosphere. They get behind their team and they're a very well organised, structured side. But, we kind of knew that going into it.
How different then would it
Yeah, it means a lot, but like I said, I'm not comfortable with it because and you love what it means because it's, for the most part, it's just blind faith. I haven't yet delivered anything. Hopefully when the day comes that we deliver as a team, then you kind of it means something different then. But I don't dismiss it either because that's, like I said, that's people taking a huge leap of faith on me as an individual, and I appreciate that. But it also, it's a really good reminder of the responsibility I have. I've got to pay that back. That faith and support that at the moment is on the back of very little. We've got to start producing stuff that's substantial, so we kind of take that credit when it's deserved.